Kids work there? Okay, cool. Well, you work in the very first building done over air rights in the city. Great example of the Art Deco style done by Halliburton Root. It's also the very first building in the city to feature a public plaza. The open space adjacent to the river had something completely unseen in the city until after the 1960s. That plaza was originally used as an outdoor music venue during the 1930s. And if you drop down to the right at eye level, you can look right into Union Station. Union Station, when it was first complete, was considered a gateway to the west since so many westbound trains passed right through. And with that title, a gateway to the west, the complex placed on the air rights of Union Station was titled the Gateway Complex. And there are 4 buildings in it. We're leaving the first one at 10 South Riverside, and in 1965, it's 22 stories tall. We have the second building in the complex at 120 South Riverside, done in 1968, also 22 stories tall. Go ahead of us, we have the third building in the complex. This building was done in 1972, and it was done through a process called precast construction. That just means that all of the pieces on the exterior of the building were made off-site using a common mold. As the pieces were complete, they were brought to the building's location, and as the frame went up, the pieces were all attached. Now, as we clear the bridge, stay on the right. We'll take a little bit of a break from the Gateway Complex to talk about this short building with the large black X's on the outside of it. This building is very similar to the John Hancock building, which we'll see later on. Both buildings have the same support system, the giant black steel X's. X bracing, when it is done through steel, accounts for a few things. It gives you great wind resistancy, great flexibility, and allows you to need very few and sometimes absolutely no floor-to-ceiling structural supports. Now, if you'd like, we could all pool our money, and because the building is so strong, because the building is so small, we could buy the building, and then we could knock down the interior walls in the area where you see the X's. They're all that's required to hold the building up. Good, just next to us, we have the fourth building in the Gateway Complex at 300 South Riverside, done in 1984 by James DeStefano before he left Skidmore, Owings, and Merrill.
You see that one word?
To make his own firm, of course, the DeStefano and Partners. You can see the building has the curve on this side. It is meant to complement the curve and the river as the south branch continues south. And look carefully at the exterior. You'll see it has that slight bubble in each window to create the kaleidoscope effect. That was a very specific choice by James DeStefano. He wanted to show off the nearby buildings, but he didn't want to do so in a very outright or outstanding way. He wanted it to be a very subtle reflection of the building, so he put the warp on the window with the bubble to create the kaleidoscope effect. Now, just next to us, we have the former post office for Chicago. It was done by Graham Anderson Probst and White in 1932. The old post office is in the Art Deco style. We have a limestone exterior, a great big setback, and if you're looking for a geometric shape, the third thing that makes a building Art Deco, we'll just go to the center of the building, find a big 3-paneled window. Once you're on the window, drop down a teeny tiny bit, and you'll see a small diamond tile.
Window.
That's our geometric shape. The old post office, I know, doesn't look so great. It is abandoned. And it's been abandoned for quite some time. There were plans underway to change the building over into hotel and office space, but those plans fell through in 2007. In August of 2009, the building went up for auction, and the starting bid for the old post office was $300,000. Yeah, $300,000 for 2.7 million square feet of interior space. The winning bid, though, for the building, including the auctioneer fee, was $41.2 million. The winning bid came from Bill Davies, a real estate developer from Liverpool, and after the auction closed, he went back and renegotiated his contract at the price all the way down to $20 million. The building's been bought and paid for. Bill Davies officially owns it, and he released a statement earlier this year. He intends to gut the entire building and to change it into hotel and retail space. One of the main reasons the starting bid was so low, just $300,000, is because the cost of new ownership on the building was extremely high, over $500,000. That's including getting new locks, new keys, new security system, clearing out all of the old furniture inside, and kind of assessing the damage on the building that needs to be done before it's considered operable. So one of the reasons they started it so low is it had such a big cost in terms of getting it up to code. Now, just next to us, we have our new post office, because we built a new one since we don't use the old one. The new post office was done in 1998. It's done by Knight Architects and Engineers. It features 3 pavilions. There's one for service, one for processing, and one for administration. It also has this 1,200 car garage just next to us. It's got all of the yellow orange posts. The garage is so big that 18-wheelers can back right in, pick up whatever they need, and head right out. I have one more building to talk about as we head south, but it's on our left.
Huh?
And it's the sandcastle-like building. This is River City. If you think River City looks like Marina City, you have great reason to. Both buildings were done by the same architect, Bertram Goldberg. Both buildings are in the same medium, reinforced concrete, and both buildings have the same shape of units, pedal or pie shaped. They're small when you enter and get wider as you walk out towards the exterior. And just keep in mind that pedal or pie shape at Marina City is done through a circular building with a central elevator core and the units radiating from the central point. Here it's achieved through a serpentine design. The building features one long S-shaped hallway and the units move from the line. Construction stopped in 1986.
Summer of George.
And it looks like we're going to head just a little bit further south. So before I take the next break, I just want to point out that behind us we have one of the best views of the former Sears Tower, now the Willis Tower, and of 311 South Wacker Drive. That's the pink building with the crown just in front of it that you can find in the city. We'll have plenty of time as we head south and then as we turn and then head north for pictures. And don't worry, I'll talk about both buildings and the name change in great detail in just a few minutes. But this will be the longest of the 3 breaks on the tour, so if you'd like to head downstairs to warm up for a few minutes or if you want to take some pictures, it is the prime time to do so. If you have any questions, just come on up and ask. I'll be right at the front of the top deck, and I will pick back up once we finish this turn and once we start to head north.